Hello, these are my interviews. Hi,
Hi, how are you?
do you know anything about Bitcoin?
A little bit.
What do you know?
That it's a cryptocurrency that operates on something called the blockchain, which is far too advanced for me to really understand, but essentially that it's a decentralized network of computers or servers that run the back end of it.
That's a pretty awesome explanation. I think you know more than you're letting on. So, have you ever thought about buying Bitcoin?
I own a little bit of Bitcoin.
Okay.
Yes.
And how easy was it for you to get that?
After doing some research, it was fairly easy, but I did have to consult a couple friends who knew a lot more than I did.
Okay. Have you done anything with it since you bought it?
No, I've just let it sit, and I've seen it go way up and then way down and then kind of sort of balance.
So kind of like the stock market.
Indeed, yeah.
So it's a currency, but it's also like the stock market.
I suppose. I mean, as far as the fluctuations and looking at it as an investment, so where it is a currency, it feels way more unstable than I guess most currencies would seem, or at least living in the United States where the dollar seems pretty stable.
Yes, exactly. So it's interesting you pointed out that Bitcoin is really two things. It's one, a currency, but two, it's an underlying technology called blockchain.
Right, right.
Did you know blockchain can be used for other things other than currency?
I'm aware of that fact, but I don't really know what the other applications necessarily are.
So let me give an example. So blockchain, it's really a shared ledger. So it's a way to create a secure recording of transactions without a centralized authority.
Okay, right.
Okay, so think supply chain management.
Okay.
Okay, so from the moment a part starts somewhere
Right.
to it ends up in a car,
Right.
you could track it, and it's an easy way to see all points in between
Okay.
in a secure manner.
Okay, sure.
So that's kind of why Bitcoin has become popular, not just because of the currency piece and
Right.
I can become a billionaire overnight.
Right, right.
Okay, so do you have any plans to do anything with your Bitcoin, or just going to leave it there?
I'm gonna leave it there at the point at which I see it creep to the cost I bought it at. I would consider selling it.
Okay.
I don't really want it to be a loss, but
Yeah.
I don't assume that I'm going to become a billionaire overnight with it, with the amount I own. So,
Did you look at any other of the cryptocurrencies besides Bitcoin?
at one point, I had some Ethereum and Litecoin,
Okay.
and eventually exchanged those for Bitcoin just so I could just pay attention to one.
One place. Okay. What made you pick one over the other? Was there any reason?
Honestly, those were the three available, so I was like,
On the exchange where you were.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I put a teeny bit into each just to see what would happen, and then eventually the I didn't have time to pay attention that
All
much.
three.
So yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you know anything about Bitcoin?
I know the general concept behind it. My coworkers and I have general discussions about it sometimes, but nothing specific.
Well, tell me what you know.
I know it's an online cryptocurrency. It has a changing value of the U.S. dollar. It changes pretty often. There was a time where it was really popular and everybody was buying into it. And from what I know right now, it's pretty cheap. So
It's down to about 10 grand,
Yeah.
where it was almost 20 grand at one point.
yeah. So I know that it's something that a lot of people buy into, and it's sort of like almost an investment, I guess you could say.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a currency online.
So, have you bought any?
I have not.
Have any of your friends bought it?
None of my direct friends, I think they know people who've bought it, but I don't personally know anybody who does. Yeah.
So, do you think something like this is going to replace real money at some point?
That'd be nice, I think. I think online currency is a little easier to manage, in a way than physical currency, because it's really easy to counterfeit physical currency. But I don't think I see it taking over. I think I'd be cool with it,
Yeah.
but I don't see it happening.
Well, yeah, think about the idea of one currency everywhere.
yeah, that'd be really nice.
No need to convert
Yeah,
from
exactly.
dollars to.
There's no changing ratios between the two. It'd be nice. It'd be something.
What do you think about the fact that cryptocurrencies today aren't regulated by any government?
Now that's pretty scary, I think. I mean, it also it provides good opportunities for, like if it's not regulated by a government, then like there's the idea that it can't be controlled by anything.
There's positives and negatives.
There's ups and downs, but I mean, so probably if it was to become a world currency and it took over for the U.S. dollar or whatever, then it'd probably be regulated.
Okay.
Yeah, but
So right now, the other thing about the government regulation is there's something called Fort Knox, and in theory, there's a lot of gold that
Underneath,
backs
yeah.
up our. So what do you think about the idea that cryptocurrency today, if it disappears, you're out?
Spooky, I guess I would say,
Okay.
because it's one of those things where it's a risky investment, and you never know. Like, because some people of older generations, they believe that the U.S. dollar was backed up by gold, the gold standard.
Yeah.
And that
But
obviously
we've never
isn't the
really
case anymore.
seen
Yeah,
that.
we don't know.
When was the last time someone was in Fort Knox?
Exactly, yeah. And so, I mean, it's probably the same thing as what's going on right now, exactly, where it's not really backed up, but you believe it is. So I don't think it really changes anything in my mind. So.
Last question. Is there anything that would make you go buy Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency?
If, I guess, something similar to the stock market, if I knew the value was down, but it was probably going to go back up soon, then I'd be like, yeah.
So investment.
Yeah, investment long term. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you know anything about cryptocurrency?
A little bit.
What do you know?
I know that it's a way to transfer value from one person to another without that's not sanctioned by the government, by the United States government.
Not regulated.
Yes.
Okay. And it could be anonymous
Yes.
if it's done right.
Yep.
Okay. How does the value calculated for a Bitcoin?
By my understanding is the block is calculated via a blockchain signature or some sort of number associated with a blockchain.
Okay. So that's the blockchain records the transactions. It's like a ledger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's just not centralized like a bank.
Yep. That's my understanding.
But as far as the price of I want to go buy Bitcoin, who determines how much one Bitcoin costs?
My understanding is the open market, or
So it's like a stock market.
a stock market is regulated. The Bitcoin market is not regulated.
Fair enough. But it's still speculative. Let's
Yep.
say it that way.
Sure.
Okay. What do you think about the concept that cryptocurrency has no physical form and isn't regulated by any government?
I think it's fantastic.
Why?
Why? Because I don't need somebody else telling me what the value has to be, should be. It should be up to the people that are interested, and in it. There shouldn't be some overlord saying this is what it shall be. I've determined.
Excellent. Thank you. Now, there's a downside to that, which is there's no government backing it, and there's no money, like gold, backing it either.
A paper currency isn't backed by gold in the United States either, and it's not regulated by the government. It's a separate quasi governmental agency, but it's somewhat independent. So,
Interesting. Do you own any Bitcoin?
no.
What would make you buy Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency?
I guess it's not. I guess it hasn't been. I haven't seen an easy way for me to transfer funds from one
Place to another.
dollar account into a cryptocurrency. Yeah.
Okay. Do you see Bitcoin or the blockchain being used for anything other than currency?
My understanding is the blockchain is being adopted by IBM for transactions, a way to reliably, publicly validate certain transactions. Yeah.
So it could be used in almost any industry.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Do you know anything about Bitcoin?
I know it's a thing.
Okay. Have you heard anything about it in the news? Where do you hear about it from?
From my friends.
Okay. Are they into Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Oh, what do they do with it?
Just invest in it.
Oh, so they buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
How come you haven't bought any yet?
I do not have enough information.
Ah, okay. So it's an unknown.
Yes.
And until you learn more about it, you wouldn't want to invest in it.
Correct.
Have you heard of any other cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin?
Yes.
Like what?
There's one that starts with an E.
Ethereum?
Ethereum.
Okay.
There's Litecoin.
Litecoin? Yeah.
And that's about it.
Okay. But Bitcoin's the one that stands out in your mind.
Yeah, the way they explain it, it kind of, if you understand Bitcoin trajectories for the finance, and the other ones kind of follow the same trends.
Well, Bitcoin was first, so therefore, in theory, the others, kind of follow suit.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you know anything about Bitcoin?
Absolutely nothing.
You've never heard of it in the news at all?
Someone did a public speech on it once, but I don't really know.
So it's called a cryptocurrency,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have any physical form, and it's not backed by any government.
Yeah, okay.
Does that sound weird?
Yes, I think so, but I mean, it makes sense.
Why does it make sense?
Because isn't it like impossible to hack?
Yeah, okay.
That's about all I know.
So it has some value in the fact that you can't mess with it.
Yeah.
Whereas, someone could hack into our banks, which has happened many times, right?
Yeah. And you can like transfer it pretty easily, can't you?
Yes.
There you go.
From anywhere to anywhere.
There you go. That's about all I know.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you know anything about cryptocurrency?
Yes.
Ooh, what do you know?
So about 2 years ago, I started, buying some bitcoins and all.
Okay.
But I was in India, so it was not that easy to get access to Bitcoin because India does not have any regulations or something like that. So
Okay.
it has always been like that. Right now, it's banned in India.
It's banned.
Yes.
How do they ban something that's not regulated?
So in India, to make any transactions, you need some sort of bank, right, to transfer money.
Okay.
So using a financial system to buy a Bitcoin is banned.
So if you have an Indian bank account,
Yeah.
they won't let you move the money,
Yes.
but you could, say, transfer money to a U.S. bank and then buy it.
Yes, but transferring money to a US bank and buying it would be considered money laundering. So
Ah.
you would be caught
Okay.
if it's a big deal.
So it's okay to own it because once you
Yeah.
own it, they can't
Yeah,
do
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
But it's not legal to buy it anymore.
Yes, yes.
Okay. What reason did you buy it for?
So I saw Bitcoin something similar to gold, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, because even if you compare gold and Bitcoin, you don't buy gold for any purpose or anything like that. You don't use it as a conductor or anything like that.
So investment.
Yeah, it's an investment, and people value it.
Okay.
People see value in it, and people see the safety. You could store it.
So secure.
Yeah, it's secure, and the movement, the liquidity you have with Bitcoin, you can transfer it anytime you want. And it's not just Bitcoin; it could be something else. I mean,
Ethereum or Ripple.
Yeah. Anything
whichever
that's
one, yeah.
fast, because Bitcoin is kind of slow and it takes a lot of fees.
Yes.
But then that's the same with gold as well. If you wanna buy gold, you gotta pay some fees. You gotta
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's heavy too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So do you know what blockchain is?
Yes, it's the system that runs the whole cryptocurrency system.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's the technology.
Yeah, it's that back-end technology.
Do you see blockchain technology being used for things other than currency?
So there is a coin called Civic, I think, which is used for identification. So
Okay.
you use blockchain for identification. That's one of the examples I've seen. And then there's this thing called tokens,
Yep.
which they use. For example, I saw one token called Helium,
Okay.
which they use for hosting a hotspot.
Yes.
You
Yes.
get
Yes.
a-
Yes.
Yeah. So they also use blockchain, I think. So yeah, something similar.
So Bitcoin is really two things. It's a currency,
Yes.
and it's the technology, and the technology can be used for other things.
I think it was the first technology that brought
Bitcoin was the
Yeah,
first.
yeah. So yeah.
Do you have any interest in the other cryptocurrencies besides Bitcoin?
There is a coin called Monero,
Yeah.
which is about privacy and all. It does not allow to people to see the whole transactions and everything.
Is it Bitcoin alone that's banned in India, or all of them?
All of them, all the cryptocurrencies. Okay. Yeah.
So, have you ever bought anything with it, or you just hold it?
I just holded it. I didn't buy.
Because it's investment.
Yeah. And I don't want to pay that much fees for transfer Bitcoin.
Because there's always a
Yeah,
fee somewhere,
because in
right?
India you already pay a lot of money to buy a Bitcoin.
Yes.
It's not that easy, and it's in demand. So it's better to just store
Hang
it.
on to it.
Yeah, and I mean here in the US I didn't get an opportunity to buy Bitcoin, but maybe I would.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, how are ya?
Do you know anything about Bitcoin?
I do not know very much, no.
What do you know?
I know that a lot of people really, really got into it, and now they're less into it, it seems.
Because the price went up and now it's staying up, so there's not an opportunity anymore, right?
I think, yes.
Well, that's about right. So 10 years ago, it was created. It was the first cryptocurrency of them all. And you could buy like 10 Bitcoin for like $1.
Right.
And now 1 Bitcoin is worth $10,000.
Not for me then.
So all these people became billionaires, not millionaires, billionaires overnight.
Can I ask you a question in this interview?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but where do they get the money?
Well, so that's the interesting thing. So it's a cryptocurrency,
Right.
which means it's not regulated.
Right.
Okay, no government owns it.
Right.
Okay, and there's no physical form to it.
Right.
Okay, so it's kind of like a stock. It's speculative.
Okay.
Right. So if someone's willing to pay X for something, you're not going to say no.
Are you not? I mean, if someone was going to pay me 1,000 Bitcoin for my house,
There's a physical thing that's associated with it.
right, and a bank would recognize it as
Yes.
valuable. This is just, right? Like, to me, it's like the cloud of
It's out,
money,
yes, it's out there. Yeah, yeah.
right? Like,
So think of it this way. People speculate on stock. So the price of a specific company is worth X billion dollars.
right.
Okay, they don't really
They
have
don't
X
have it.
billion dollars in assets. Okay, so it's just kind of like that, and it's trading and selling. People believe the value's up, and they're willing to pay 10,000 a Bitcoin, and that's how simple it is.
I hope that works out for them.
So you wouldn't ever buy a Bitcoin.
I don't think so. I don't want to say ever, no.
Okay.
But at this
For right
moment,
now.
no.
Have you heard of cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin?
I have. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I know that there are
Like
other ones.
Ethereum and Litecoin.
There's one. Is there one
and,
that starts with a Z, maybe?
Zcoin.
Okay,
yeah,
sure.
okay.
That starts with a Z.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you know anything about Bitcoin?
I don't know much. I think it's like an online money thing, but
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay, so online, it's called cryptocurrency.
Okay.
So it doesn't have any physical form, no dollars or bills.
Okay.
It's not controlled by a government,
Oh, I didn't know about that.
so it's not regulated.
Okay.
And that also means it doesn't have like Fort Knox gold backing it up.
Okay. Then how does this work? I don't understand.
So it's a little bit speculative.
Okay.
So someone says, I want to sell my Bitcoin for $2.
Okay.
Are you willing to pay?
Okay.
Someone says, yes, I'm willing to pay $2. And that's what the price is set at.
So it's like a barter system, like the old
You
kind of?
can consider that, but it's a little more global and computerized.
Okay. So it's more computerized. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So it's like similar to what we do with a like bank account using cards.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. The one big difference is it's not centralized. So,
Okay.
in a bank, all your records sit in one server, and anyone that wants to access them has to go to that server.
I see.
Okay. In Bitcoin, the transactions are actually all over the world
Okay.
in a decentralized system,
Okay.
and it's all put together by math. There's math problems and security and cryptology that makes it all work.
Okay, but one thing that I'm not understanding, like you are say buy my Bitcoin or using $2. So
Yes.
that $2 are not cash or something like.
No, it's just a transaction out in the cloud, let's
Okay.
say. And then at some point later, they may, the market might say Bitcoin's now worth $4,
Okay.
and you just made $2.
Okay.
So it's a little bit like stock
I
in
see,
that
I see.
aspect.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yes, looks like I understand.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi.
Hi,
Do you know anything about Bitcoin?
a little bit.
What do you know?
I know that I don't want to invest money in it
Okay. Why is that?
because I have a friend that kind of got lost all their money
So they invested when it was high.
and never got anything back, and it was sort of just
Did they keep it and hold on to it?
in other countries or something, but not in this country.
Well, but that's interesting because in theory, it's a global currency. The value here is no different than the value in any other country. So let me back up to that friend. So they bought Bitcoin, the price went down. Did they keep the Bitcoin or did they sell it?
I don't know,
Don't know,
but
okay.
all I know is that they were very upset that they lost all that money they put in.
So it's
Even though I
decentralized.
told her not to do it.
Now, why did you tell her not to do it?
Because I didn't think she knew enough about it and didn't know the person who was offering it well enough.
Oh, so she didn't buy it from like an online exchange. She bought it from a person?
Yes, a person that,
Ooh, interesting.
yeah.
Here locally?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That sounds a little.
Like pyramid scheme, sounded to me like.
Yeah. Or just
So-
you don't know who you're dealing with. You know, whereas so Bitcoin, I mean, you can go online to exchanges that are public companies, and you can buy Bitcoin through your bank account. Okay, you don't have to go locally to get it. Interesting. So
I'm not gonna do it.
caution,
I'm not gonna do
cautionary
it.
tale. Right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Do you know anything about Bitcoin?
Little layers of information.
What do you know?
I know there's just a blockchain that supports it, and there's multiple companies that like to invest into it.
Okay.
That's
a good start, actually.
yeah.
So you realize that Bitcoin is one half currency, one half technology.
Right. Yeah. There's definitely a balance there. Right.
So you could use the blockchain technology for things that have nothing to do with currency, as an example.
Right. Yeah. I know people track like a lot of AI stuff also can get lead through it, but
Have you bought any Bitcoin?
no. I wanted to, but never.
Too late, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Would you ever buy Bitcoin in the future?
Yes.
What would be like the threshold to get you to buy Bitcoin?
Like the monetary range.
Any rules you have?
Oh, okay. Money would definitely be an issue. The value for sure. But also, I actually would like to get into it as soon as possible because it's currency that is not backed by the government, so it also has power of itself.
Freedom.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
Do you know anything about other cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin?
There's like ethereal.
Okay.
And there's a couple others, but yeah.
But Bitcoin's the one that you kind of gravitate to. Right. Why is that?
Thrown around the media, I think.
It's got the brand recognition.
Right, the name. Yeah, it's the first one that kind of came into existence and kind of had that boom, right?
So, in the future, do you ever see something like Bitcoin or anything based on blockchain technology replacing traditional currencies?
I mean, you can kind of see it now in some situations. I think yes. And you can see in Facebook they're starting to get backed up by.
They're gonna try to launch their own coin.
Right, yeah. Which, you can. I was gonna say is just very powerful, just in the smart as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.